Pizza delivery drivers. What did a person do to end up on the no delivery list? I once had some kids order a large, eat most of it, and stick a dead spider in one of the remaining slices. The boss asked me to drive over and look at it, and it was obvious what they did. The spider was uncooked, and how did they not notice it when they opened the box? They started to argue, and I just left. The next weekend, their parents tried to order, and we told them why they were on the no delivery list. Hopefully these weren't lenient parents. I was a manager at a pizza shop and had a sheet pizza delivered to a hospital. They claimed there was a cockroach on the pizza. We replaced it, and I had the driver pick up the cockroach pizza. It came back with all the pieces gone except one in the middle with the roach on it. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't eat anything that I know a cockroach walked on. We didn't ban them, though. It was a large hospital, and we couldn't ban them. This guy would ask delivery drivers to bring the food into the kitchen and set it on the kitchen island. Once there, he would have a conversation with the driver about how hot his daughter looked in a bikini. Would say that he would be ordering pizza later that evening, and if the driver was interested in coming back with that order, he could do stuff with his daughter while he watched in the distance. The first driver that dealt with this ignored it. The second one told the GM, who then called the dad and told him that he's banned from ordering from us because of what he's offering to the delivery drivers. Family member worked at Pizza Hut way back in the day. There was an address that was banned because the drivers would get robbed when they went to that address. Happened 3 times before they were banned. The drivers would deliver to surrounding homes and nothing ever happened. It was only when they delivered to that one specific address. Ran a pizza to a house. Guy answered the door with an armful of laundry and said to come in and put it in the kitchen. I follow him through the house, walking past the living room where there was a projector playing a gay male scene on the entire wall, with a surround sound putting in work. I set the pizza down on the counter, and he asked if I wanted to stay and have a slice. I declined. The customer asked me to go inside his house to show me what was wrong with his pizza. He demanded their pizzas be free and he get to keep them because the prep person forgot to put extra cheese on one of them. He snatched up the stack of receipts from my hand as I was trying to find his, so he had all the credit card numbers of everyone I delivered to that day. When I asked for them back, he said no and threatened to attack me and said that he'd tell the police that I attacked him in his home if I don't leave his house. So I did. Delivered the second order I had in my car, which was literally the house across the street. Then as I'm walking to my car, I call my manager. As it rings, the angry customer walks outside, so I put my phone in my pocket. He throws the receipts and other orders at me, then stands over me with his fist over my face, threatening to kill me if I ever drive in his street again. When I get to the store, the manager tells me that this customer called and said I threatened him and his family, demanding that I get fired. I told my manager that's not what happened. She said that she knows, because I didn't hang up my phone when I put it in my pocket. She put him on the no delivery list and told him if he ever calls the store again, she'd call the police. It's a real shame you can't hit record while also being in a call on your phone, because frankly, it'd be way easier just to call the cops on that psychopath. Unfortunately, at this point, it would all be hearsay. Some fucking people. We had this guy who always put his name down as K. He would only answer the door in his underwear. Tidy whities. He was probably 60, maybe 70 years old. He would also never tip. We didn't totally cut him off, but it was pretty quick that we stopped letting girls deliver to his apartment. He stopped ordering when it stopped being women. Good times. I think I'm gonna jump in for this next story. I was on my first ever DoorDash delivery order. This dude gets 3 small pizzas delivered to his apartment, which was in a building for recovering addicts in active rehab. I get there, finally find parking, and Buddy wouldn't answer his phone to give me the entry code. So I stood there for probably close to 20 minutes trying to get a hold of this guy until someone who lived there eventually came through the door, and I just snuck in behind them. Then I took one of the sketchiest, noisiest elevators I've been on, up 7 floors to get to a hallway like something out of a horror movie. Beige walls, stained 70s style wall lamps every 5 doors down, a few out and one flickering at the end of the hallway. So I make my way down as quietly as I can, hoping no one jumps out at me, and I finally get to his door. I shit you not, all I could hear coming out from his room was TV static. Buddy opens the door, just enough to get the pizzas through, grabs them, and shuts the door. Pretty sure he didn't even say thanks. After the hour that whole venture took me, from pickup to speed walking out the way that I came in, I was done for the day. Not a driver, but my spouse worked at a pizza place. The house wasn't on the ban list, but apparently the wife would always answer the door naked, and the more surprised the driver looked, the higher their tip would be. Pizza workers would warn the new drivers to look as shocked as possible to increase the gratuity. Worked at a pizza place that served a pretty ghetto neighborhood. Drivers kept getting robbed when going there, so they blacklisted the whole place. One day, this gangster-looking dude comes into the shop and says that he's the big man around there, and he told the GM that his driver would be safe if they came back, and that he wanted a pizza. We started going back, and never had another robbery out there again. That would be the organized part of organized crime. Not me, but a friend who worked at Domino's. Craziest story she had was when she was delivering to a customer, and this person refused the pizza because she wasn't the usual delivery guy. Now, the usual delivery guy quit his job about a week prior, and she was basically his replacement. Anyway, the customer threw a tantrum, didn't tip, and eventually called the store and ranted about the whole thing being a conspiracy led by J. Patrick Doyle himself, who was the CEO of this pizza joint at the time, all cleverly designed to ruin this customer's life, and they demanded they rehire the previous guy, who he genuinely considered to be his best friend. He then went on about how the pizza was made with tears of sadness and alligator bile. Pretty sure they blocked the guy. Poor dude sounded like he was having a breakdown. They wrote a review saying they were going to fight our GM, and that they were pissed we never sent any girl drivers to their house. It ain't a fraternity, bro. Get some girls in there. All the girls that worked in our store demanded they be banned. We had a guy order some pizzas and ask for our cutest delivery girl. And I, a burly 24-year-old man, went instead. He opened the door in an open bathrobe and nothing else. Wasn't happy to see me, and didn't leave a tip. Banned from ever ordering from us again, and our manager called other pizza joints and got him banned from them too. At the pizza place I worked at for a while, we had this guy who would order a large pizza and then claim they were wrong every single time and get a free replacement. He did this maybe 15 times before a manager finally caught on and banned him from ordering. The audacity of some people really amazes me sometimes. Like, did he think nobody would notice the pattern? So 14's the limit. You might be able to get some more mileage if you accept some pizzas in between. You know, reject 7, take 1, you might get to 20. Clever planning, especially in this economy, but I think these guys are missing the point. Delivered for Domino's about 20-ish years ago, there was this regular customer who was a total asshole for no apparent reason. This would happen to every driver, every time. Guy would come to the door, and as soon as you start taking the pizza out of the bag, he'd say, "Hold on, how long was that in your car? Did you take a bunch of other deliveries before bringing this one?" Then he'd allow you to take the pizza from the hot bag. He would open the box in front of you and inspect it. He was never happy with it. Not enough toppings, too many toppings. Are you sure I ordered it with olives? And then he would hover his hand over the pizza a couple of inches and move it around the entire pizza, checking if it was hot enough. It never was. He would refuse every order and demand a remake. He would always laugh about the fact that he wasn't tipping. Literally rub it in the driver's face. He would always make sure you could see he had a few dollars in his hand too. He'd hold it up and say things like, "Let's see if you've done enough to earn this." No driver ever received a tip. He would hold the driver hostage at his door for a good 5 minutes, just to talk down to them and humiliate them over and over, swearing every time he'd never order from us again. Eventually, I got promoted to a management role. The first time his order came after that, I made his pizza from start to finish, cut it myself, bagged it myself, then took his delivery myself. I was at his door under 20 minutes from the time he ordered to make it. Despite how quick it was, same routine. I just let him do all his stupid shit. Then he declared it wasn't good enough and wanted a remake. I told him I was the manager on duty, and we would not be remaking his pizza. He then said he will refuse to pay for it. I accepted his offer, told him to enjoy the free pizza. He said he'd never order from us again. I told him that is 100% true, as we would no longer be accepting his business. He just laughed and said he'd call corporate. I encouraged him to do so and left. When I got back to the store, I noted his address. The next day, our franchise owner called to ask what happened. I explained everything, told him we weren't going to take his business anymore. The owner said, "Oh, he's gonna be pissed when he gets those coupons I sent him then." Dude tried to order a few more times from us, but we never took his order. I feel bad for the drivers from other places that I'm sure he's tormenting now. Not a driver, but my ex ordered Chinese delivery. After paying the Chinese lady, my small dog ran after her to her car. I said in a stern, angry voice for him to get back inside, and the lady responded, "Oh, no, I have to get going." Took me a minute to realize what she said and that she thought I was ordering her to get inside. I never ordered from there again. I remember having a grocery shopping delivery during COVID. The delivery driver had just turned to walk down the driveway at the same time my daughter headed upstairs to bed. She said to me, "Good night, love you." So I naturally responded with the same, but in my loud dad voice. The speed in which the delivery driver turned around was amazing. Not quite as amazing, though, as the shocked look on his face. Delivering pizza in Rochester, New York, middle of January, snowstorm, about 20 degrees Fahrenheit with wind chill. He took the pie, said to me to wait a sec, closed the door, I hear it lock, lights turn off, I pound on the door, freezing my ass off, nothing. Called and called, finally determined the $20 wasn't worth it. I had other deliveries to worry about. Boss was all sorts of irate that I took so long. I told him, called him from the payphone, and told the asshole off. Phone number and name by every phone, do not serve. I never let go of the box until I saw the cash from them from then on. I will gladly wait here until your pizza gets cold. When they can't figure out that their vicious dog can easily break through a screen door and rush you in 2 seconds, especially if they have their small kid running around the living room by said door. That dog goes into protect and attack mode in the blink of an eye. Fuck those people. Yep, a chow got me when I was delivering for Jimmy John's. Guy cracked the door to exchange while his dog was barking, snarling, and trying to get through the cracked door. I remember saying, "Wow, that's a mean dog." And as soon as I did, the door opened. Luckily, I wasn't injured, but tore my jeans up to the point where I had to go home and change. He tried giving me a $2 tip, and I said, "No, you're buying me new jeans or I call the cops." Gave me 20, which was enough for my thrift store jeans. Shitty owner. Not a pizza delivery driver, but a sandwich delivery driver. My store is extremely short-staffed, like less than half the amount of drivers that we need to cover our area. There was one day where we were super slammed, had dozens of orders going out up to 2 hours after they'd been placed. We were calling customers left and right and had multiple people cancel, which we were fine with under the circumstances. We had this one woman who worked at a local hotel order from us. We tried calling her multiple times to let her know how late her order would be, but she never answered. 2 hours after she orders, the driver finally gets to her, and she is waiting outside the hotel with a male coworker. As soon as the driver gets out of the car, this woman started screaming at them about how long she's been waiting and how this is unacceptable. The driver tried apologizing and offering to call the store to get the order comped, but the woman just kept screaming about how that was useless to her now and to just give it to the coworker. This woman screamed at the driver until the driver was absolutely sobbing. We recognize that being 2 hours late for an order is horrible, but we had done everything we could at that point to rectify the situation. Regardless of the reasoning, treating our drivers like that results in an immediate blacklisting. Took a delivery to a party. Drunk guy signed the receipt and then used the pen to trace the outline of my breast while I still held the food. I was in shock. I never expected something like that to happen. I was embarrassed. On the drive back to the store, I cried and debated keeping it to myself. But screw that. I told my manager. He told the district manager, and that address was permanently banned. My coworkers wanted to beat his ass. I haven't worked in delivery for a few years, but I cringe when I drive within the blocks of that house. Once I delivered to a house. A woman answered and paid for the delivery, and I left. I drove about 100 feet down the road and got pulled over by 3 unmarked police cars. Apparently, I had delivered to a drug dealer's house. His sister had ordered. After I showed proof that I was the delivery driver, they let me go. I told my store manager when I got back. Back when I was a driver, I worked in a rural area for a small local pizza place. We didn't have a large bill policy or separate cash bags, so my cash bag was my literal personal wallet, and I was expected to make it all balance at the end of the shift. Anyway, when I was out at one of my deliveries, the customer kicked me in the shins and said, "Hurry up, bitch," because I took more than 20 seconds to break a surprise $100 bill on his $30-something order while still juggling half of his fucking food. Granted, it wasn't a hard kick, but still not appreciated. I smiled and pretended like it was a light joke and carried on. I politely finished the interaction, but was fuming by the time I got back to my car. When I got back, I told my manager, and thankfully I never had to deliver to that house again. I was the only female delivery driver at a family-owned pizza place when I was 17. I delivered to this house, and the guy walked outside to grab his pizza, but then kept walking without grabbing the pizza, straight into the walkway directly behind me. He started asking me random questions, and I remember trying to get him to take his pizza, which he eventually did, but then he tried to physically block me from leaving. I managed to quickly sidestep him and get back to my car. When I got back to the store, The owner and manager said the man called and told him that his pizza was made incorrectly, which the manager knew it was not, but they said he demanded that I be the one to bring back the corrected pizza. After I told the owner what happened, he and the other male manager personally went back to this guy's house, brought the corrected pizza, and blacklisted him from ever ordering again. Scary to think what could have happened. I was young and timid. I didn't even say anything to the guy at the time. Man, there are some real freakos out there. But on that note, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Take care of yourselves, stay safe out there, and I will see you next time.